Hi, for like Josh mentioned, I'm Albert, and I'm part of the Moral Transparent Fellowship. And what I'm going to talk to you today is really about how Jesus has been kind of addressing my sin of anger over the past 8 years or so. And it was first in college, actually, that this became aware to me. People there that were close to me started telling me that I was a very irritable person, very frustrated. This would come off as just being very argumentative, very impatient with people. And to give you an example of how ridiculous this sounds, I have one friend from there that now he's my best friend, but we argue about things like, what's the best grade of oil to use for our car? What's the worst Star Trek movie out of the Next Generation movies, right? And so forth. Even to things like how does our, what's the correct application of like something we were studying in Bible study that week? And this wasn't just friendly banter because who argues seriously about Star Trek and oil, but for me it was. And the others were pretty bruised about that. And honestly, coming out of San Diego, I didn't really think it was that big of an issue. I grew up in a household that my parents had argued a lot, that my brother had argued with them, and I didn't think much of it. So I went to Colorado, and to give you some background, there I didn't really pursue any fellowship. I had gone there for school, I kind of stuck my head down, abandoned fellowship, abandoned Jesus for the most part, abandoned church, abandoned community. And there it got very easy to just say, if I don't care for someone, I'm not going to hang out with them. I don't have to put myself through putting up with people or being in those situations I could be frustrated. But the times that did come up is when I was back home. I'd still have to deal with parents, I'd still have to deal with my girlfriend, and in those times, you just won't continue there. But, for someone that comes home from college, and, when you deal with parents and they try to impose their way of living on you, I get really frustrated with them and said, even things that now I recognize that they were loving me in terms of like starting my car in the morning so I wanted to go out 10 minutes early, or cleaning my room, or doing my laundry but folding a different way so it screws up my dresser, things like that. It would be really easy to just get focused on they're disrespecting me, they're really not listening to me, and I couldn't see that they were actually caring for me that way. And yeah, there are arguments with Jenny as well, and over time, the same kind of story happened. I responded in anger and thinking, how can they do these things to me? How can they say these things to me? I'm the one that right, And I thought I went into shame. It's like, how could I be the one to say those things in response to my family, to my girlfriend? And feeling like, oh, I'm actually really in the wrong. And then after that, I was like, this sober acceptance, like, well, obviously I still suck at this, but what can I do to fix this, or what can I go to read and learn and mentally understand, like, what's the next step to fighting this sin? And it come off in ways of really, say, like, searching online, searching for articles, searching for other people's experiences about anger management or conflict resolution and stuff like that. Those things didn't really last. Those things made a lot of sense on paper, but kind of in the moments of frustration and anger, it always come back to I didn't really respond well. I let my actions be dictated strongly by my emotions. I let my emotions be strongly dictated by my attitude, and my attitude was very reflective of one that I felt that I was the sole lord of my life, and that things should be done my way, and if they're not, it shouldn't really matter. And yeah, it made a lot of sense on paper, but it never really stuck that way. And eventually one tipping point was just one argument with Jenny, I kind of realized that, still went through the same cycle, like we had an argument, felt pretty shameful about it afterwards, but this time we actually went to go talk to Josh about it and kind of seek counsel from our spiritual authority. And you might be thinking that's where it all of a sudden became better. Not that Josh doesn't offer very good advice, and he can't help in that way, but even coming out of that, he told us that this would not be something that just changes from a one-time meeting. Right? It would still be something that, I remember you said you wanted to follow up, but we never did. But, it would still be a journey, and, coming out of that, it's not as though there was some action plan that I followed. It's not as though I had some new ritual that I did whenever I came up across a situation that frustrated me. I actually didn't do a whole lot other than be mindful of it. And that's why it was kind of hard for me to prepare this testimony, because when I think about it a year later, I didn't really think I had that many sins that I had conquered. But when I was thinking about it, and kind of a few weeks ago actually, my car got burglarized, and I remember thinking that, oh, I want to rage a lot right now, and because I felt really wronged by these people that I don't even know. But I remember instead being able to take a step back and contacted my small group and asked them to pray for me, and just kind of went on from there. That was an indication to me that, God actually has been addressing my issue of anger over the past year, and that rather than getting so caught up in wanting to wish terrible things upon these people, I was able to not do that. So what really changed over the past year, I think it's less about what I did, but the main thing was I moved back from Colorado. I got plugged into community here. I got plugged into fellowship here. I started seeing Jesus is really Lord of my life in other areas. Just like things like going to service, or going to fellowship, or with finances, or with work, or with other relationships. And the more I saw Jesus, the more I lived out Jesus as Lord of my life in those areas, it kind of spilled over into this area of anger, where instead of responding because I felt I was wronged and letting my emotions rule me, it was want to see that Jesus is still Lord of my life even in this area as well. And he's constantly helping. It's not something that I by any means am fully overcome, but I think every day he does help me in the sense of reminding me that my day-to-day is not just about avoiding sin. It's not just about putting on this face of, hey, I'm not angry, and being good. Instead, it's about growing in holiness from a relationship with him. Rather than trust myself as Lord to dictate what I feel should be the right response and actions of things, it's about understanding that he is my Lord, and he's enabling me to respond in a way that is glorifying. Thank you.
Really appreciate you sharing your story. I want to be able to bless you before you sit down. Is that okay? Let's pray for Brother Albert. God, we thank you for the honesty of our brother's story. We thank you that following Jesus is not about how we perform as a Christian. As if we can put on a mask of external religious behaviors and make ourselves, through our image management, look like good and holy people. But we thank you instead that we get to depend on a good and holy God. And by the grace of sending your own Son, Jesus, as a sacrifice on our behalf, cleanses us from our sinfulness and starts to change our hearts through the work of your Spirit. And so we ask for your mercy on us. We thank you for our brother Albert and his story. We thank you for the clear work of your Spirit and your Son in his life, and beginning to be able to transform that rage that many of us wrestle with, that sense of needing to be right and not allowing others to wound us and make us wrong, and instead yielding himself to Jesus and allowing Jesus to be his righteousness, Jesus to be his vindicator, Jesus to be his peace. And so we continue to ask for your mercy on him and the work of your Spirit in his life. Just like Albert said, this is not something that just magically transforms. We recognize it is a lifelong process of sanctification in him and in us as well. And so we thank you for the encouragement of his story, of showing us something real that many, if not all of us, wrestle with. And we praise you in the name of Jesus and we're encouraged by you. Amen.